All right, what's good? So, literally just finished the whole season of Batman: The Caped Crusader, which, to be real, I forgot it came out early. I thought it was coming out in September. I got the dates wrong, but got a chance to watch it. It's not a long season. It's 10 episodes, but it's 30 minutes long, 25 minutes to be exact. And I wanted to give my thoughts on it. First and foremost, does this Batman fan? Because I'm y'all. Anybody who knows me knows I'm a huge Batman fan. I'm one of them, and I will admit it. I'm one of them delusional Batman fans. I believe that Batman can beat Dragon Ball Z universe, any kind of universe. Just his genius can work. I'm one of them. So when people are like that's delusional, I'm like, you're right, you're right. But anyway, does this Batman fan love the Cape Crusader? No, but I don't hate it. Love is a strong word. I like it. I really like it. There's some things I want to talk about with the show, but there's some ups and downs with it. But it is an enjoyable watch. I enjoyed myself watching the show. Is it something I'm gonna be like, oh, I love it, I want to watch the season again? Oh my god, I gotta tell everybody about it? No. Looking at it outside of fandom as a Batman fan, will somebody who just want to watch a good show, will they enjoy it? That's 50-50. I can see that being a mixed bag. Like, basically, I'm saying, could it stand on its own outside of Batman fandom? Yes and no. It's not one of the, like, there's some superhero movies I've seen or TV shows I watch, and I'm like, all right, this is good with or without the, like, for example, the Punisher show on Netflix. I always said that could hang on its own without being known as a superhero. And actually, to be real, I know people who watch the show that love it that didn't know he was a Marvel hero. And I'm like, you didn't see the Marvel side? He was like, no, I didn't notice it. I was like, yeah, he's a Marvel. They was like, oh, well, he's good. He's really good. But that's my point. Can he hang like that on his own without the fandom of superhero fandom? Yes and no. Like I said, it's not terrible, but it's not something like, oh, I'ma love it. Now, I will say this, and I'll explain why later, but I'm looking forward to season 2, and I hope season 2 elevates it. It can grow from here. Let me put it that way. It's a good season that it can grow to greatness in the next season if they just make some adjustments. But I also heard too that there's been a mixed bag on this season. Some hated, some loved it. Well, I haven't heard anybody who loved it, but some people said they didn't like the casting of or the changes. Barbara Gordon's in it, but she's African American. Gordon African American. Penguin being a woman, all this other stuff. Personally, I loved Gordon, the character, both Barbara Gordon and Commissioner Gordon. It didn't really bother me much that they were. It didn't bother me at all that they was black. Like I said before, series, TV shows, and movies can change some things as long as they keep the core. As long as some things you could change to some things you can't. That's the best way I could put it. Keep Batman, Bruce Wayne, the way he is. Caucasian dude. Likes women, whatever other stuff, like The Bachelor, all that other stuff, dark, So, keep Batman, the Bruce Wayne and Batman the way he is. Others, take a swing and see what happens. When you take swings at other people like Gordon, they make him African American, or other characters and their love interest, you could take a risk on that. And, usually with fandom, even if they don't like it, they can move on from it and still watch your show and all that stuff. As long as you don't touch that core character like Batman or Joker or something like that, Superman. So personally, I didn't have an issue with some of the changes they made. There are some changes, though, that just didn't work, and I'll get to that. Let me talk about the good first. I really enjoyed the setting this show had. It really made me feel like I was watching the Batman animated series again. Shout out to Matt Reeves, everybody that was behind it, because there was a lot of paying homage to the Batman animated series with this. And I respect it. I really respect it. I literally felt like I was a kid again watching the show. I'm talking about the setting, the animation, the fighting style, criminals, all that stuff. Batman himself. I like the older version of the suit with the long ears. I respect that. But me watching the show animation wise, setting and all that, it really felt like I was watching the Batman animated series again. So shout out to them for that. I really enjoyed that part. I was just them going around, just looking around the city and stuff like that. I felt like I was watching that Kevin Conroy, Mark Hamill Batman over again. So yeah, that felt good just as a Batman fan. Casting wise, voice acting, I believe was good. I didn't have no issue with Batman's voice actor. I wonder, is that the same guy? Is that the same guy who did Arkham Origins? It was some parts that sounded like him and then some parts that didn't. So let me know in the comments. I could research. I'm not gonna do that right now. I'm doing a review, but you can just let me know in the comments if y'all know. So yeah, whoever played Batman did a good job. Whoever played Alfred, I believe Alfred was good. Somebody said that didn't bother me at all. But somebody was like, Alfred being like big boned and fat. I was like, that didn't. I mean, I didn't care about that at all. Alfred was still great. The relationship between him and Batman was believable. Is he the best Alfred when it comes to dialogue and everything? No, but it worked. There's actually something in their relationship that I did like. Batman called Alfred Pennyworth a lot. A lot of times. Pennyworth. And like the end of the season, he said Alfred. He was like, Pennyworth, Alfred. And you could tell like their relationship was getting better. I know some people talking about, it was Batman was being rude to Alfred. Well, there's moments where Batman in the comics, TV shows, whatever, that he had moments like that with Alfred. But the closer they got, he had more respect for him. And then there's a moment where, I don't want to spoil it, but there's something that happened with Alfred where you saw the stone-faced Bruce or Batman become sensitive. It really affected him. It really showed you that he really cares for Alfred. And I like that. The chemistry between the two and building up to their relationship, showing Batman becoming softer to Alfred, worked really well in this series. He's very hard, but you see it in time become softer till at the very end of the season, it changed from Pennyworth to Alfred. Those little nuggets. I like that. So, yeah, that was something I enjoyed seeing their relationship. That when it comes to Batman, you always got to get that right. You got to get their relationship right. Does it have to be perfect? No, but you got to do it right. And I believe they did it right. Well, let me go to the villains. Oh, no, let me go to the story. Yeah, story. It was good. It made sense for the most part. There's a couple nuggets that I have to talk about that I didn't really rock with. But for the most part, building up to the season finale, it made sense. You felt for some of the villains. That's one thing Batman does a lot that other superheroes don't have, is you are understanding to some of these villains, Two-Face, etc. The writing for some of these characters are done well to where you're understanding their situation, and they write Batman well to where he wants to be understanding to these villains. So I believe the writing for the villains, the writing for the story leading up to situations was nice. And they had a more, I would say more because this is how Batman is, but the writing with the whole gangster life versus Gotham is written very well. There's something that I didn't notice till a little later I started thinking about it, was the writing with the criminals and the cops, the criminals and Batman, the criminals and the whole city of Gotham was written very well, where you can tell, even for Batman being there, you can still tell the gangs, the mafia still has a hold on Gotham that Batman has not broken yet. And I'm not even talking about the regular villains like Two-Face or other people. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about just a regular mafia, the regular gangs, Rupert Thorpe, people like them. You could tell they still have a hold on Gotham that Batman and the cops have not. Commissioner Gordon, that Barbara Gordon has not broken yet. And I like how it was written because it was believable. They wasn't just around just to be there for famous names. Because anybody knows Rupert Thorpe is one of the famous gangster names. And they wasn't just written there just to be there. It actually made sense, like, oh, all right, yeah, we're dealing with this villain like Firefly, for example. Or in this show, he was called Firebug, for example. But he's not the main villain. The main villain is these guys behind the scenes. Is the mafia that's behind the scenes, that's chilling, watching a baseball game with his son. That's a scene in the show. But as he's watching the baseball game with his son, enjoying the time, this brother's running a lot of things when it comes to Gotham that Batman can't crack on him yet. And I like that writing for that. The writing for it was actually done very well. I also enjoyed how this wasn't Batman's first rodeo as being a superhero, but you could tell he was still adjusting to the life of being Batman and Bruce Wayne. He's still being chased by the cops. It gets better in the season, but you still know there's an issue with that, with his relationship with Gotham. People haven't adapted to him yet, and you can see Bruce still trying to be Bruce Wayne. There's moments of him being Bruce Wayne where he slips and he gets into that dark Batman feel, but he catches himself back. I like those little moments there. He's more Batman than Bruce Wayne. Bruce Wayne that's the real mask, of which if anybody knows Batman, the comics, TV shows, movies, whatever, we all know that him being Bruce Wayne is the true mask. Him being Batman is his true self. And I like that the TV show did adapt that. They did that very well. Now, when it comes to villains, this was an up and down for me. I'm talking about the villains like Firefly, Harley Quinn, stuff like that. I didn't think it was necessary to have a female Penguin. Penguin was one of my favorite Batman villains. And this change did not work. Like I said, though, in the beginning, these are characters that you can change and see what happens. Did I hate that just because she was a female? No, that wasn't it. It didn't work for Penguin. She could have been another villain, and I would have been fine with it. But when you see Penguin, like of old, the one Penguins we know, and you see this one, it just didn't. I didn't believe she was Penguin. So I know they was trying to go a different route with it, and it just did make. You could have, if you wanted to, you could have erased Penguin from this season and have her be a different villain, but for her to take the spot of Penguin, it just didn't work in my opinion. So yeah, it just did work. She seemed like another villain, and that's fine. If you want to make her just a villain in this series, that's fine, but to call her Penguin was just not believable. Another one, my least favorite villain in this whole series was Harley Quinn. Harley Quinn did not fit. It did not fit. It did not work. I said it before and I'll say it again. I don't know what is DC's thing with trying to make Harley Quinn her own person in this universe. And what I mean by that, she is her own person already, but I'm talking about like this new, they keep trying to push these different narratives of Harley Quinn. And it just doesn't work. I said it before, and DC fans have said it. We need that relationship with her and Joker first. What made Harley Quinn so famous is how she was portrayed in the Batman animated series, how she was portrayed in those comics back in the day. That story, that toxic relationship between the two, Batman trying to help Harley, that scarred woman was the story of Harley Quinn. And the question that people read or watched was, is she ever going to get out of it? That's the story. And it worked because honestly, it's relatable. We know some people like that. Their relationships, and you're like, what are you doing? Like, I know it was hard, but don't settle for this. And the insecurity she had, it's something that you could. Harley Quinn was very relatable, and it's like DC is trying to take away that essence of her into making her this, very goofy leader. Where she should not, leading the Suicide Squad or leading this or doing this, or they're having her do too much and it just doesn't work. And maybe it's just she's not written well, because that's another thing too. She just was not written well as a villain. It didn't make sense. Like, it's weird that she had her whole episode of her being a villain and no Joker. No Joker. By the way, Joker is not in this season. And as the villain, he was not in here, and it just didn't work. Maybe that's why, because she hasn't been written well enough for her to have her own. I know they talk about the Harley Quinn Poison Ivy show. That show's around because it's funny. It has some good writing moments, but overall, it's a comedy. It's like a Family Guy of Batman. That's what it reminded me of. That's why I believe it did so well. But yeah, that older essence of Harley Quinn. And I gave you the shorter version. There's other things in between of that with Harley Quinn. I was just trying to make it so I don't make this video too long. But yeah, that's overall Harley Quinn, and it seems like DC hates that narrative and try to make something else, and it doesn't work. Which one? And I believe that was the least favorite episode. The villain was not it just didn't that's the best way I could put it. It just didn't work. They trying to make Harley Quinn into something that is not Harley Quinn. Do it for another female villain. Just don't do it with her. Her story is already written. That's why I said in other videos, characters that are already developed and developed well, leave them alone. DC just keeps trying it with video games, movies, TV shows. I don't know. Like I said, they can try it if they want, but at least they ain't messing up the Batman, his story. Because if I saw all these changes they're doing with these villains to Batman, I wouldn't have liked it. There actually is a situation with Batman I enjoy where somebody made a little comment about his mother's pearls, and he's Bruce Wayne at this moment, and it made him snap a little bit, and he knocked it was a photographer, he just knocked him out, and it became a story, a headline for billionaire Bruce Wayne snapping. That little nugget there was nice, considering his family's death. It was his mother's pearls. He was advertising pearls at his little event, and somebody made a little comment about his mother. But yeah, that was my least favorite villain, was Harley Quinn. My favorite one, Harvey Dent. The build up for Harvey Dent was done well. He was very cocky, and it was about him. He wanted to help Gotham, but he wanted his image to look good, and how he did behind the scenes, he didn't really care about people, but then he started to build up out of that, and he was messing with the wrong people, which, like I said again, with the mafia. But his build up to be a Two-Face was justified, and I believe it worked well. It worked well. It was emotional. The relationship between him and Bruce was believable. His relationship with him and Gotham, with the criminals, it was believable, and they did it well. It was not wasted. Did they change some things? Yes, when it comes to Harvey Dent. But unlike Harley Quinn, this one worked. Unlike Penguin, this one worked. It was believable, and it was emotional, and it would I say it was like emotional? I was like about to cry. No, it nothing like that, but it was like, And you saw the frustration with Batman, after he became Two-Face and all that stuff. That's not a spoiler because we know what happens to Harvey Dent. But I believe that worked. When it comes to villain characters, I will say the best villain of the whole series was the Mafia. Rupert Thorpe and those guys, like, my favorite episode, I'll get into that right now. My favorite episode is episode 7. Episode 7, the stakes were high. Honestly, I didn't know who was going to live and who's going to die. And it honestly came from just the Mafia, what the Mafia was going to do. They called a certain other villain. He was very weak. He didn't really do much, but he wasn't the main problem. The main problem was the gang. I don't want to spoil it. Well, I can say what happens, but there's a target on Gordon's head, and the gang wants him dead. So they call in, people. It's like a whole army to go and get him, and that whole episode was tense. The stakes were high. The people, you don't know who to trust. Because there's crime. Obviously there's corruption with the cops and all that stuff. You don't know who's good and who's bad. Batman's trying to figure it out. Will he make it out in time? Will Batman figure it out on time? Will Gordon be alive? I'm not gonna spoil that. That was the most intense, filled out episode in that whole season. That was the best. In my opinion, the worst episode was the one with Harley Quinn. Again, I just can't say it enough. They need to stop. In my opinion, stop trying to write Harley Quinn as her own thing. Bring her back. That's why I'm looking forward to the Joker 2 movie, because that's how it should be. That's how it should be. It's be Joker and Harley Quinn. Hopefully they do that well, but I can see it doing well. But this whole thing with Harley being her own, and it's just not written well. That episode was like, oh, okay. They're really trying to make her, and the way that episode ended, they really try to make her this top of the line villain or character, and it's just not working. Find somebody else and do that with. I don't know what is this fantasy with Harley Quinn. But anyway, yeah. As a Batman fan, I talked for a while, but y'all know I like to talk. As a Batman fan, I enjoyed this. I look forward to season 2, and I'll tell you why. Throughout the whole season, I felt like something was missing. I didn't know what it was, but I was like, something's missing. I don't know what it is. And at the end of the season, there's a cliffhanger for season 2, and I'm like, that's what it is. So I'll give a spoiler. It doesn't matter because I'm pretty sure it's been talked. This show's been out for a while now, but the cliffhanger is Joker is around. The first sighting of Joker is in the ending of this season. It's literally for maybe a minute. And I realized, dang, that's what's missing. And I look forward, so basically he's going to be in season 2. And no matter how many times Joker is being shown, because I know a lot of people, and even I said it too, it would be nice to see other villains outside of Joker. But one thing this season did show me was, no, Joker is still needed. He don't need to be the main one, but his presence needs to be around. One thing I like about the Batman movie of Robert Pattinson was Joker wasn't the main villain, but that little scene in jail with Riddler, is what people was talking about. And honestly, the deleted scene between him and Batman when Joker was in jail, that was one of the best scenes in the movie that wasn't even in the movie. It should have been in the movie. Joker's presence does something. If written well, it does something. Joker has solidified himself. It seems like DC's trying to do that with Harley Quinn, and it's just not working. Joker works. And I realized that him not being this season, you felt it. And I didn't know it till the end of the season. I'm like, something is missing. Then they showed it. I'm like, doesn't matter how many times they show Joker, he is always going to be that missing factor in a Batman series. That's why no matter what they did in Arkham, Joker was somewhere. He doesn't have to be the main villain, but his presence need to be seen. And that little scene, I was like, that answered my question. I'm like, that is what's missing. Okay. You know, now I look forward. That's what's making me look forward to season 2. Now, was the season good? Yes. And yes, there's other great villains. I am not saying there's not other great villains, but the villains that they put in this season, I will say this, wasn't the best. They wasn't written well. There were some good ones, a few good ones, a couple, like I said, Harvey Dent and the Mafia was the best ones in my opinion. The Mafia and Harvey Dent was the best ones. The other ones, I could have done with or without. Oh, and by the way, I will say this too. The Catwoman one was different. We could have done without that one, in my opinion. I know they did it because Selena Kyle, all that stuff. But how it was written, the episode was very short. And I wasn't rolling with how Catwoman was written. Like, she was very stuck up and stubborn in a most annoying way. I know she had her moments where she's like feeling herself. But this one was very annoying. She was just annoying. Where I was glad to where after one, like, she was only there for one episode. And I was glad. Like, don't either, if you bring her back, write her better. Like, she was very annoying. But I guess because the villains wasn't the best in this season, outside of the Mafia and Harvey Dent, Joker felt like he was needed. Now they could, if I will say, if the villains were written better, if Harley Quinn was written better, if the Penguin was written better, if some other one was written better, then maybe I wouldn't say that. But thinking about it now, I think the reason Joker felt like he was missing was because the villains wasn't the best. All the villains they show, Harvey, outside of Harvey Dent and the Mafia, to be exact. But yeah, I look forward to season 2 because of the Joker. Hopefully, some of the things they fix and some things they keep out. Like, honestly, I don't need Harley Quinn back. I don't want Penguin back. Well, honestly, she's probably gonna be back, but Harley Quinn can stay away. I don't really care. This Catwoman can stay away. Excuse me. I do look forward to see what Batman does for the future, if it's another season going to come, because I don't know how good this season did, if it's green light for another season or not. But I enjoyed it for the first time, for the first viewing. To be real, this will not be something I'll watch again, but it was good enough for the first viewing. So, was it good enough for the Batman fan? Yes. But usually as a Batman fan, I usually rewatch stuff a lot when it comes to Batman. This is not one of them. This is a one and done for me. And hopefully season 2 is different if it's greenlit. But anyway, let me know how y'all thought. Man, I talked for a while. But anyway, thank y'all so much for tuning in. Thank y'all for chilling with me in this channel and everything else. I really appreciate y'all. But thank y'all for tuning in. I'll see you later.